Okay.
Finally.
Cool. So I met Professor Ayofik first time, I think when he visited us at Cambridge like 2 years ago, and we also met again during this year, early this October in South Korea during ISMA. And well, thank you again for inviting me here to give a talk. And so my topic today is about beyond avatars designing body interfaces in XR. And before that, I just want to give you a very short self-introduction. So I'm a fourth-year PhD student at the University of Cambridge, working with Professor Paola Christensen. I'm also a student fellow at the Leverhulme Center for the Future Intelligence, which is an organization coordinated by Cambridge, Imperial College, and also UC Berkeley. And before that, I finished my undergrad studies at Shanjiao University in Suzhou and the University of Liverpool with Professor Haining Liang, and I was a visiting PhD student at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and I also worked as a research intern at a lot of different research institutions like Carnegie Mellon University, IIT Paris, and Monash University. And I've also joined Sony Computer Science Lab in Kyoto with Professor John Rikimoto. And besides, I'm also actively getting involved into conference organizations and paper reviews. And I'm also teaching a few undergraduate courses and the final year projects at Cambridge at the Department of Computer Science and Technology. So before I start, I just list some terminologies here, which I'm pretty sure that everyone have seen those terminologies because they are super powerful before ChatGPT. But so nowadays, with development of about 40 years of VR, AR research, we have seen those terminologies of metaverse, spatial computing, or XR in short, is getting more and more popular since Facebook changed their name from Facebook to Meta, and also Apple launched their first mixed reality headset, and Google has also reorganized their XR team together with Samsung. So, and we also see a great of developments in many related fields, not only from XR or human-computer interaction. We also see a lot of great outputs from computer vision, computer graphics. We have fantastic tracking algorithm. We have rendering systems, 3D reconstruction. We also have seen a lot of great developments from NLP or AI research. We have smart agents empowered by the large language models, and we also have fantastic voice interaction, and we also have generative content in 3D environments. And we also have some great outputs from other fields like the physics and engineering. Like we have more and more powerful display, and we have a lot of sensors. But is metaverse really ready for our daily life? So we obviously still have a lot of problems from materials, optics, physics, engineering, computer science, etc. We can see like the headset is still a little bit heavy for us, and the battery is still not powerful enough. We only have very few applications with very limited ecosystems in XR, and the FOV is quite narrow, and we have a lot of other issues. But these problems also existed before we had iPhone. So for example, like if we consider iPhone as a starting point of the smartphone interaction, we already have those touch screen. We already have those sensors, the cameras, a lot of other interactions based on the touch screen. But why we don't consider other mobile phones as the starting point of using the smart mobile phone interaction? So we already have all those hardware-related problems as well, but we also have those equipment. So in my view, if we want to really make sure XR is ready for us, we need to reconsider the whole interaction paradigm, just like iPhone. iPhone changed quite a lot based on the touch screen interaction. So I believe that if we want to really make sure XR is ready, we need to entirely change the interaction paradigm. And currently, the user interfaces in XR is not really natural, and it involves a lot of whole body interaction, or at least partially bodily control during the interaction, which makes us very fatigued. The fatigue level is really high, and some specific tasks require very high presential effort, and the paradigm still just mimicking from the the physical interaction, just like what we did what we do in our the real world. So my solution is, so first we just want to review how our body is getting involved into this kind of interaction from the 3D environment, the physical from the physical environments, and we just want to reflect what we learned from the physical world to the virtual world. So from a historical exploration perspective, our human beings never stop our exploration towards our body. Here's a drawing, very famous drawing from Leonardo da Vinci. It shows, it represents his conception of an ideal body, which influenced by his own measurements on our bodies, which was actually from about 600 years ago. And also 20 years ago, Mark Hansen from New York University argued that we should rethink our bodies in the modern media, art and technologies. And it should be really, really important to consider the embodiment as a key concept to the virtual experience. Not only just consider the fantastic computer graphic rendering algorithms, but also just rethink our body as an interface to augment our embodied perception. So if we review the history of interaction from a human-computer interaction way, which Florian Floyd-Müller, a professor from National University, he argued that the human-centric computing way is kind of body-centric computing way. So he argued that we have 3 different stages of involving our bodies to the computer systems. So he argued that at the beginning of these 3 stages, the first one, we have. I cannot say.
It's not on your machine.
No, it's
maybe
here. Nope.
Whatever.
So here, it's body-centric. Okay. So he argued, Floyd argued that we have, since we have all those hardwares, we have the touch, the mouse, the keyboards. We were just basically using our body to touch the button, to press the button, to move the cursor, which he considered this is from playing with digital using our body. And he argued that in the second stage, we have many other external sensors to detect our bodily movements or augment our body movements, which can achieve many unique experiences that we couldn't do before. So for example, we have VR exogames. Like boxing, we can do boxing in VR. We can dancing with motion track systems. We have the Beat Saber, the very popular VR game. And a more simple example that we can use our mid-air gestures in XR, which is also a way to just play or interact with digital information using our hands. But has this stage been fully explored since we just use our body as an input with to play with digital environments? Should we directly move to the last stage to experiencing our bodies as digital play? So here, I just want to invite you to a scenario that I'm pretty sure that all of you have played the rock, paper, scissors game. But can you just imagine that you can play the rock, paper, scissors against yourself? Use your hands to play with yourself. Just try to do so. Yeah. So, and can you probably find a word to describe this kind of feeling? Especially between, yeah.
Schizophrenia.
So personally, I would say it's a little bit weird because we can always control which part of our hands will be the winner and which part will be the loser in this game, because we are mostly in control of our own body. But how could we possibly share this kind of control with a computer to play against with our body? So to truly explore this question and engage in this experience, we presented a core idea that is sharing our control with the computer by bridging the gap between the physical world and the digital worlds. So both industry and academia have paid attention to movement-based technologies, just like this example, the Bonden, which is a Sweden game. You can see people just connect with each other using their mobile phone, follow the prompts on the screen, and then they can dance together. But what are the benefits for that? So first, it can promote the physical activities where a playful experience, like you can have closer social interaction and connection with your friends. It can also help us to develop the bodily awareness and foster knowledge of our inner self. And traditionally, there's a gap between the real body and the virtual environments, and we just simply consider our body as an input and the virtual world as a screen to visualize those information. But here we change our approach to reconsider our body and see if it can be a playful material to bridge this gap. So here's a very interesting example in HCI called the electronic muscle simulation technique, in short EMS, which can control our body, and we can leverage this technique to play against ourselves by doing the rock paper scissors games. So EMS only requires very limited electronic current, while the electron nodes placed on your strings, and it will directly send a signal to your muscle to control the movement, and you cannot play against with this kind of feeling, and which will release the whole control from your side to the computer side. And we designed a wearable EMS device in 2021 and implemented it into a few more projects. So here's another example we call auto puzzle game, which is very similar to the rock paper scissors game, but here we just ask our participants to wear our EMS device so that they cannot control that hand. So here's a video.
Technology that passes small amount of electric current through the players.
Okay, I can describe the video. So here you can see, like we asked Nathan, who was a postdoc with Floyd as well, and we asked him to, and we also recruited a lot of participants, but here's just one example. We asked Nathan to wear EMS device to play against with himself. Just very similar to the previous example, the rock, paper, scissors game. And you can see, so they just play against themselves. So they can control one of them hands, but for the rest of the other hands, they cannot control because they will be controlled by the EMS device. And secondly, yes.
How do you sense when the person stopped and displayed?
We actually established a timer to ask our participants to do so. It's a very easy way because we just want to make it very easy for our participants. Yeah. And also, what if we lose the whole control of two of our hands? So this example, the Fuse Spectatorship project, we ask our participants to place 2 EMS devices, which means they have no control of their both hands. And in this case, we fuse the traditional spectatorship. Well, traditionally, we just like watching games online. There's a clear boundary between playing and watching. So, for example, we are spectating from a distance without direct involvement, and both of our hands, like traditionally, if you are just watching a video streaming, we are not personally getting involved into this kind of playful experience. But here, we ask our participants to wear 2 EMS devices so that their hands getting involved, but they have no control of this kind of interaction, but they have those spectatorship as well, because their eyes can still say what happened, but they just cannot have any control of this kind of interaction. But why? Just back to my presentation. So this kind of fused spectatorship can change our bodies, becoming to be an extension of the gameplay actions performed by the players, challenging the.
I have a small question.
Yes.
Am I really just a spectator, or can I actually maybe after can recreate the same thing? Is there any sensing of how my limbs are moving that I could learn from?
Well, in this project specifically, we only because we just presented a project, we changed the previous spectatorship to not allow our players to play in this game, but just made them to be a spectator. But in this game, they are not only the spectator because it's a very fierce relationship, especially compared with the traditional one. Because the traditional one, if we are just a spectator, our bodies are not getting involved into this game. But here, we can give a very interesting exploration for them, or a very unique experience for them to their bodies getting involved into this game, but they cannot control this game. they can have some interesting, like they can still do the rock, paper, scissors game, but they just have no control of this kind of interaction. So, but I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of other interesting applications. So, for example, what if we can release some degrees of like some level of the control with to release this kind of control back to the players? So that would be really interesting to explore. So, but here we just want to present a very interesting way to fuse the traditional spectator, player, and gameplay actions in this interaction. But the last stage of the body-centric computing or interaction, in that paper, Floyd argued that we should also consider experiencing our bodies as digital play. But what does it mean? So in XR, in extended reality research, we can transform our bodies into metaverse. So for example, we can have our user representation, we can have our avatars, but is this a way that we want to experience or our bodies as digital play in XR? So in XR, big companies like Meta, they have claimed that they have achieved a lot of interesting outputs of creating the metaverse avatar in XR. But it's really, really funny when, especially when Mark Zuckerberg presented it into the Facebook. It's well, actually, we love that this post. We think the avatar is quite ugly. We don't want this kind of interaction. And well, soon after Mark Zuckerberg posted it into the social media, they released another version. They called the upgraded version. So they announced that we can have legs with avatars, but is this really what we expected to have an avatar as our user representation in XR? So, well, personally, the simulation of the legs for avatars is quite good. They use very interesting algorithm to predict our pose. But I don't think, personally, I would not satisfied with this kind of avatars as my bodily, as my user representation in XR. So from my perspective, which I gave a doctoral consortium talk earlier this year at IEEE to discuss the concept of the bodily interfaces in XR, which I believe that can change our body behavior becoming to be an active user interface with commands in XR for selection, control, or interaction. So for example, here's a very first project that I did when I was an undergrad student. So I'm pretty sure that we must have experienced a lot of capture designs in our physical world. Like sometimes we need to rotate some figures, sometimes we need to type in some very weird characters like the numbers or the other characters. So they are a little bit annoying, like if we just mimicking this kind of the capture verification in our the metaverse experience. Like we don't want to use a controller to rotate the figure. We don't want to use the virtual keyboard to type in some characters, which will reduce our immersion, especially in XR interaction. So in this project, we presented a new way that we can just use our bodily movements as a verification technique to verify our identification in XR. Like you can do a required pose, like just raise your hands up to verify you are a human, or you just need to complete a very easy task. So, for example, you can just grab a water from the table. Just following the very simple 3D tasks to verify our identification in XR. And the second project that I want to share with you is the on-body menu. I'm not too sure how many of you have experienced a VR or AR interaction before, but if you use VR before, if you want to call up an application, the most common way for you is you will see a camera in front of you and you will see a lot of icons. And normally you will use a controller and you will see a retesting. And you will use this retesting to select the specific application that you want to call up. Or you can use your mid-air gesture to make sure your finger is inside of the virtual object or the virtual icon. But for both interaction, I'm pretty sure that you will have no sense of haptic, you have no confirmation, you will only have visual confirmation, but you have no others to to confirm that you really select or really open this application. But here we use the Kinect to detect our body movements, and we can simply just tap here, tap here, tap here, tap here to throw up any applications to reduce those like the visual the user interface.
What do you see in the display?
The
You don't see yourself.
Well, yes, you can see, but we don't want to, especially for some specific VR scenarios, we don't want to see the whole body of ours, but we just want to see some like virtual arms, virtual hands. That's enough. But we can remember those positions in our body, on our body, because we always have our physical bodies. So that's why we can remember those placements on our body.
If you have few, I agree. But if you just use that as a haptic feedback, you probably you see yourself in the mirror, sort of in VR, or you see your hand above some 2D area, and you could press and then use the body feedback as a click.
Yes, yeah. Well, actually, that's what I want to show you, because we have 3 different creation processes for our own body menus. So the first of all, we just provided a first-person perspective so that people can only see 2 arms, or they can see the whole body. But the main points, they can see our bodies from the first perspective. But we also provided like a 3D avatar, the T-pose avatar in front of our the virtual experience. Like we can see the T-pose avatar, and we just drag the icon to the T-pose avatar so that we can establish a connection between the bodily landmark and the virtual applications that we want to call up. And lastly, we can see a mirror condition, which actually combines the first-person perspective and also the third-person perspective, because we can always see a mirror in front of you. You can see the 3D movements, you can see the whole body movements, but you can also see the first-person perspective advantages. Like we can still see, okay, here's my arm, here's my virtual arm, which can match our what we're seeing in VR and what we have in the physical world. And we want to explore, do users have consistent patterns in placement of icons across different bodily landmarks and categories? So here we provided like 5 different categories. Like we have social media, we have productivity, and we have leisures and other icons. And so we just want to see the distribution that our participants, that they want to place those applications into, where they want to place those applications on their body. So we visualize the distribution of icons here across different categories under different conditions, under different creation conditions. And interestingly, we observed a potential correlation between the location of icons on the body. So for example, all of our participants, by the way, we have 30 participants in our study, and all of them place productivity applications on the upper body. No one places, yeah.
What's the title of the middle one?
Which one?
The middle column?
The middle column, this one?
Yeah.
The productivity, like the words, the Excel, the PowerPoint. So, well, here you can see, yeah. So we asked our participants to place all those icons on their body to establish these on-body menus in XR. But we find that all of them place the productivity applications on the upper body, and almost most of them place social media applications around the wrist. And we asked them why, and they told us because they just want to reach them as soon as possible, because they frequently use those applications in the real world. And for the wrist, it's a very common way for them to remember also. So another project is, well, at the beginning of my talk today, I mentioned that the current problem with XR is we are simply mimicking from the physical world, physical interaction, which may have a lot of bodily engagements and movements at very large scale, which makes us very, very fatigued, especially when we use VR, when we use this kind of interaction like every day. So it will make us very, very fatigued. So here's one example. Just imagine that one day we need to work with VR for the whole day, and we must need to do a lot of text entry and text editing tasks. So for example, we may need to reply an email, right? We may need to write a grant, write a paper in VR, and it will involve a lot of text editing. We may need to copy, we may need to delete some sentences, some words. But here we show the traditional way that we do this kind of text editing tasks. So first, people need to select a sentence by doing so. You will see. So first, place your finger there and move to make sure you select all those targets. And then you will see menu on the top, and you will see copy, paste, cut, a lot of other commands. And so basically, you need to do all those interaction. Well, it's actually okay or acceptable if we just reply an email in XR. But what if we need to write our PhD thesis in XR, which involves a lot of words, a lot of text editing, and it will require us to do a lot of this kind of interaction, and which means a lot of the bodily engagement, and which will make our body very, very fatigued. So here we presented a micro gesture based text editing system in VR. So basically, we just want to reduce the bodily fatigue, and our system just relies on the micro gesture to do the basic text editing commands like cut, undo, delete, select all, etc. And we chose these micro gestures based on a previous study on investigating the most acceptable semantics of each micro gesture. So for example, here, if we want to select the suppose, traditionally we need to first pinch there and make sure the cursor is on this position before the S. And then we need to slightly move our hand to make sure we stop at the letter D. And then if we want to cut this word, we need to make sure the recasting will point to the cut. But in our system, we just simply use the slide first to press on your finger and then slightly move so that we can select this word, the suppose. And if we want to cut this word, we then just do this gesture. So the whole interaction is doing so and then do so. So it will reduce a lot of interaction in our system.
Just to ask you about that, you have gestures that are aimed at the text and gestures that are visible for the headset.
Yeah.
And those that are aimed at the text how good is that? I mean, if I, for example, want to do a pinch, I probably better do it while toward the direction of the headset so that the cameras can see the fingers motion really well. If I would get my hand in front and do the pinch, it might be quite obscure from the headset. Then how good would sensing will be?
Well, for our system, it's actually quite accurate to detect all those micro gestures. Even you don't have to put your hands like from this direction. You can also place your hands like this. You can you don't need to involve the very large scale bodily movements. So that's our point. Yeah, and we will show you some videos when our participants are using our system. So, but before that, I just want to show what we use for detecting the micro gestures, and we train our models to recognize the micro gestures, and we just use the built-in cameras in the Meta Quest 3, and the models include 3 different layers. The first one is the dynamic gestures, and the second one is the static gestures, and finally, to improve our accuracy for specifically for the micro gesture recognition, we include a quantitative learning layer, which actually improves a lot for the accuracy. And finally, you can see the accuracy of our recognition, which is actually very, very high. Although I have to admit that there is a huge limitation on the gesture set choice, because we only chose 8 different gestures, which means our recognition systems can only work for these 8 gestures. So, but I'm pretty sure that one day we will have a very good model to have the potential to recognize all those the personalized gestures, not only from our choices, but from any other gestures. Like you can do any gestures you want. So we conducted some user studies to evaluate our system. So for example, the first user study, we compare our micro-jet system with the baseline condition, which is we called the gesture plus menu the baseline condition. And we recruited 20 participants from Cambridge, and all of them are right-handed, and they have some previous VR experiences. And we asked them to do some tasks, the very common text editing tasks like cut, copy, paste, delete, and etc. And we also measure some factors like the edit time, the errors, and also the user experience, the perceived task load, and also the usability. So here I can show you some video. So here you can see we asked our participant to do the carrier navigation, and now he needs to move the slide gesture. And now he needs to do the paste and then select all. So basically, we just ask our participant to do these gestures. And before that, we also ask them to try them best to remember all those micro gestures. But if they can't, we still provide the tips around them so that if they can really remember, for example, the select all gesture, they can just turn around to see what they are required to do.
How do you select? How do you actually put the position in the text?
Put to the position.
I mean, do you just do pointing?
Yes, it's actually pinch. So people, they need to pinch.
So the pinch is the action, but the location is based on pointing?
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Okay. That was accurate enough because
It's actually-
it finds your inaccuracies in direction.
Well, it's for this study, it's a very easy study, so it's enough. But we have actually put our systems into an open-ended scenario for people to copy from the website and to answer some questions. Like they can find the answers from the website and they can copy some information from the website and then to the notebook. I will introduce that study as well. And for the results, we can see our gestures are significantly faster than the baseline condition, especially for the cut, delete, and select all gestures. And the general user experience is much better than the baseline, and the usability is also the usability results also show our system is more satisfying for the participants. And for the second user study, we just want to use our micro gesture system for the rapid text range selection. Because normally we just imagine that we want to do a lot of text editing tasks in VR. We sometimes may want to just select a few characters. Sometimes we may want to select a few more sentences or words, or even the whole paragraph, or even the whole page. So based on that, we designed a range selection mode based on rotating their wrists. So for example, they do this gesture, they can change the range selection mode from character by character to word by word, even to sentence by sentence and paragraph by paragraph. So which means when you slightly move your finger like this way, it will change the previous character by character way, the character by character mode to the word by word mode or other modes. So I can show you some example. So here we ask our participants to select four words. And now I'm not sure if you have noticed that our participant need to first rotate their wrist.
So when you rotate his wrist, he said, I'm going to use units of words.
Sorry?
When I do this,
yes.
I select what is the granularity, my selection.
Well, you can see here, there's the red one is character by character. The yellow one is word by word, and then to sentence by sentence and paragraph by paragraph. So they were aware of which mode they just selected.
So if I do this hand gesture, immediately I see the colors.
Yes, yeah. You can see this around your wrist. And we also compared our system with baseline condition, and our system shows that for the short range selection, our system is comparable or even faster than the baseline. But for the longer range selection tasks, our system is a little bit slower because we need to do the mode switching first and then to the real selection. But even we have those shortcomings, we still show our user experience is much better than the baseline condition. And our system also requires a significantly lower mental demand, physical demand, effort, and frustration. And finally, we put our systems into an open-ended information gathering tasks in web browsing and note-taking. So here we have two screens. So on the left, we can see a website which shows a lot of information, and on the right side we have some questions for our participants, and they can find the answers from the left screen, and they can use our system and also use a baseline condition to copy to do those text editing tasks from the left website to the right notebook. And we also recruited 10 participants to run this user study to compare with our system. And because it's a very open-ended tasks, we don't have really like the arrows or the specific tasks for our participants. But we just use some questionnaires to evaluate their experience and the usability of our system. So finally, the overall user experience still shows our system is much better than the baseline. And from the usability perspective, our system is at least comparable with a baseline condition. And finally, I just want to introduce a recent work that we just published at the ASM SUI. Well, my supervisor, Paola, he presented our work in Canada earlier this month. So the core idea of this project is extremely simple and easy to understand. So our system, if you use the VR headset, normally if you want to select an object, you will see a linear array using the controller or use your finger. But it's very useful, it's very powerful, and it's enough for most of our interaction. But what if our environment, the virtual environment, is a very dense environment? We will see a lot of objects being occluded, and we cannot directly find our target. So which means if you use the linear array, and you can only select the thing in front of your target, not behind the target. So which we use a curve to change the linear array, and the curve is the shape of our curve is based on the curvature of your finger, which means when you bend your finger, it will change the linear array to a curve. And we also project the closest objects to this curve and visualize those targets to the virtual arm, so that we can also tap on your arm to receive the self-haptic feedback from this kind of interaction. And here's an algorithm that we use for changing the shape of our curve. And the whole interaction process is, so first we need to bend our finger, and then we will project all those the targets to the virtual arm, and then to tap on our virtual arm. So here's a video. So here's a traditional way that we want to select an object. So it's a linear array. By the way, we use our right hand to do the confirmation. And here you can see, if you want to, so we ask our participant to only bend their finger to change the shape of their the linear array to a curve.
You compare it only to the previous baseline?
Yes. Yeah.
What if you have another method which maybe it's linear, but your other hand is saying which object along the linear are you looking for, right? I mean, you could point at the object that you want to select, but you will select several on the way. So now what you need to say is, I'm along that ray, but I'm not the first one.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
the third one.
Yeah.
So that might be faster than setting up a Bezier curve and
Yeah, maybe I would say, yeah. But here we just compare with two different factors. Like the first one is linear versus the curve, and the second is mid-air versus the on-body surfaces. Oh shit. So here for the on-body selection, you can see we project the targets on the virtual arm. And the fourth condition is a curve plus on-body surfaces.
okay, that's somewhat
Yes.
similar.
So our system shows, well, the result shows our performance is more accurate than the on-body conditions are much better than the mid-air gestures because they can see the targets on their arm and they just need to tap on their arm. And also, but here's a huge trade-off between using the on-body selection and the mid-air selection because if we want to do the on-body selection, we need first we need to select. So first we need to make sure the linear or the curve is close to the target, and then we need to tap. It's like a two-step process. Yes.
Could you please replay that video just one more time?
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Which condition you want to see? Last one. Yes.
So I didn't see anything.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So first, people bend the finger to make sure the targets is visualized on their virtual arm. Yeah.
I understand that. Compare those conditions, the mid-air versus the on-body. Did you account for, I can't see it from the video, but did you account for the power law where depending on the distance away from you, you have to also adjust for the target size in order to be able to compare them without a confound of distance? Because obviously, if you follow the power law, you might have to increase those targets further away from the participant.
Ah, I see. But no, we just keep the same size for the icons. So
because
yeah.
now you have two things, right? One is the pointing interaction, whether it's Bezier or straight line.
Yes.
But you also have the problem of the size is smaller.
Yes.
Further away.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
Same icon, whereas on the body, it's much closer. So if you accounted for that, you would either have to make the on-body one smaller, based on the distance, or the ones farther away larger.
Yeah, that's true. I totally agree with that. Yeah, but for our side, we just want to compare with whether the on-body surfaces is good or is useful for our participants. So we didn't consider the size effect. Yes.
So I do see the value of the on-body where you sample and you let people now select out of K objects. In that usage, do you see a difference between curve and linear initial sampling?
Yes, actually. Well, even in this case, so for example, here, it's a linear condition.
Yeah.
When our targets is not occluded at all, you can just use the linear ray. But sometimes we just need to consider like if our target will be occluded, then we can switch the linear ray to the curve.
Well, I assume that you see something of your target, otherwise you have a problem to put it on a line or put it on a curve, right?
Yes, yeah, I see.
But I'm saying defining a curve is more complex than defining a straight line.
That's true.
Okay. And if you eventually gonna just sample along the curve or along the straight line and then select on your arm, it might be faster to do it with linear than to do it with curve.
I would say maybe, but I think this very depends on the specific scenarios, like how many targets we have and
what was the results you got?
Well,
one thing I saw that the curve was longer, more time, which makes sense. What was about success?
Well, for you mean for the more arrows, right?
So I'm coming in, there's a cloud of objects. You let me either, I need to select something. I can either shoot a straight line, see on my arm and select one, or I can curve into that cloud, see the samples along my arm and select.
Yes.
Obviously, when I do a curve, I invest more time in defining that curve than a straight line. But does that help me eventually select the objects?
Yes, it helps a lot actually, especially for the dense scenarios.
So you'll have less objects on the curve?
No, we have the same light objects for the curve, for either curve or the linear array. We just project all those. Even for the linear array, we also have like two different conditions. One is with the on-body surfaces, and the other is only with mid-air interaction. So for the mid-air interaction, the arrows is the number of arrows is much higher than the on-body.
The other thing is this is a trade-off. So I see one slide which the Sierra curve is worse. Where's the other slide that says that it's better?
So here, even for the mid-air or on-body, which means it's like we run the two-way analysis, because we can only focus on one factor. Like if we mention the mid-air, it combines two different conditions, like the mid-air curve and mid-air linear.
Okay. But that's a different. I agree with that slide just as well. And
yeah, I see.
It doesn't have any relation whether it is a curve or a straight line, whether it is mid-air or on body.
Well, actually, we also presented our like 4 different the whole results of our 4 different conditions in our paper. But here we just want to conclude the factor advantages or disadvantages.
Difference between curve and straight line.
Well,
in the total use.
Well, just for this example, we can see the curve is requires much more longer time for the compared with the linear array. Yeah, because they need to make sure that the curvature is what is in their expectation.
Okay.
And also we also find the on-body services improve the user experience because people find this more interactive. And we also ask our participants to rank their preference among these 4 conditions. And you can see almost all people place the on-body conditions at the top of their priority. And well, due to the time issue, I will skip this part. So I will conclude some future work. Well, to summarize, in this talk, I have talked about the bodily augmentation techniques like EMS technique, which proves that our human bodies can be augmented by sharing control and agency with the interaction techniques like EMS technique. And by doing so, we can fuse the role of player, spectator, and playful actions, and making our interaction more immersive. And it can also offer a great opportunity to a unique playful experience that we cannot achieve in the real world, just like a rock, paper, scissors game. And in XR, I also mentioned some projects. Our physical bodies can be reconsidered as a user interface connecting the virtual environment and the real world. And our body interfaces can be also active rather than being just a user representation in XR. And this kind of body interfaces can also provide self-haptic feedback for fundamental selection, control, and interaction tasks in XR. So in the future, I'm also considering a few other directions. So first of all, I just want to consider the non-humanoid avatars control. Like at CHI 2024, a group of researchers from Tokyo, they presented a new way to control like the octopus, octopus body in XR. And we are collaborating with a new project to control the liquid avatar in XR. And also, I'm interested in the future of the human-robot interaction with the help of XR. I presented a work that we published 2 years ago or 3 years ago, which we designed a swarm hand technique for manipulation with group of swarm hand at the same time. So we first detect the skeleton of our hand, and we change this skeleton to a group of cursors, which we call swarm particles. And when we rotate our hand, when we rotate our wrist, we can change the distance of each swarm particle. We can control a group of things at the same time. And we also combined our system with the traditional like one-on-one selection and manipulation. Our system is significantly faster than the traditional one. Because traditional one, we can just use like the top of your finger to control things. But here we can use the whole of your hand to control the group of interaction. And we can also map this kind of swarm control to the swarm robotics with XR. So we have already seen a lot of swarm robotics research at CHI, Orbis, and DIS. And people can use this kind of swarm interaction, swarm hand manipulation technique to control the group of swarm robotics in the physical world. And also, I'm interested in implementing smart hardwares like haptic simulator techniques in XR to achieve more immersive experience and more enjoyable, playful experience in XR. So for example, together with a group of researchers in Hong Kong, we first designed a meta dragon boat system to make sure to allow our participants to play the rowing game in XR. And we also, this year, we also conduct some user study to see whether the co-located and remote conditions while playing these rowing games in XR has any different co-play strategies. And we also build some fixed locomotion scooter project in XR so that people can just use people can just use their legs to navigate and locomote in the XR. Yeah, which is very intuitive.
The motion sickness.
Well, actually, we did measure the motion sickness, but because our body is engaged in this locomotion system, if you mention the scooter one, our body is engaged. So we have very minor motion sickness in this kind of locomotion. And we did use our system for a lot of real world scenarios, like we use this scooter, the fixed scooter in XR to do for the campus visit for the undergrad students.
Have you tried? Okay, now I ask a question. If I had an electric scooter, I didn't need to do the other leg pushing.
Yeah.
Would that change that? Would that be more prone for motion sickness?
Maybe I would say, but it's well, if we put two legs into the scooter on the scooter, it will. So first, it will reduce the fatigue because it requires less body engagements because we can just stand there and control the speed to speed up or be slower. But it will also reduce our immersion because all those interactions not from your body engagement. But here, we allow one leg move on this surface, which means our body is really engaged in this kind of locomotion or navigation. And it really increase the immersive experience in this kind of interaction. And that's all about my today's topic. And I'm happy to take any other questions, although we already have some questions during this talk. So thank you very much again. Yeah, I'm chatting. Nope.
First of all, I really want to thank and for sharing some valuable and cutting edge insights. I have maybe 3 questions. Could you please go back to the electricity experiment?
The EMS. Yes.
Experiment that Nathan took part in.
Yeah, sure. Just 1 second. So I will stop here.
From the experiment, I have noticed we use electrical stimulation to move the arm. The finger performs certain actions, right? Is that considered the muscle memory? Yeah. Or it's more like the dance or something.
Well, it's yeah, that's a really interesting one. Well, for the EMS, maybe I can give you some more details of how it works. So first of all, we just put the EMS device there, and it can control the very specific muscles. So for example, if we want to do this gesture, we will figure out which muscle control this kind of movement, and we place the electrodes on the specific placement of your sting. So that's how it works.
So our brain does not remember.
Yeah, we don't remember that. So that's why we call it, we will share the control with the computer. Our brain didn't get involved into this.
But still, it's interesting if, for example, someone, let's say that I close my eyes and you move my hands to something.
Yeah.
Would I be able to recreate the shape that you moved after that?
From my personal experience of using EMS, no way. Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to because you have proprioceptive information.
Oh,
you didn't have motor control. You have afferent information about the proprioception. It's not very accurate, but you can, even if you close your eyes and I control it, unless you numb the hand. Did you numb it?
Only if you pay attention to that. If you don't really, if you are not prepared to remember these motor movements, then you will not be able to remember that. Especially if you close your eyes, it won't be. At least it's not very. At least for me, I won't say I can remember this kind of motor movement.
So when I look at this experiment, I would say I clearly can state the negatives feeling of a user for losing agency on his
For sure,
hands
yeah.
and different. What are pluses?
What the plus?
Yeah.
Well, I think this question you should ask Pedro Luz. Well, if you let me to answer this question, well, specifically for our games, for our projects, we just want to explore like a new design space for the future of games. So that's why we want to explore what if we can share or partially share of our control, the body control with the computer.
Did you tried it on people?
Yes.
Did any of those people came out and say, yeah, I liked it because it was better on that?
Yes, actually, someone but you cannot hear from them.
Yeah,
but
they can tell me general the gist.
So first of all, they find it's a really unique experience. Because I also asked you to do the rock paper scissors game. You can always decide which part of your body will be the winner in this kind of interaction, the gameplay experience. So here they find that okay, it's not like if we didn't place the EMS with our participants, we asked them if you can imagine what if you lose your control, and most of our participants said it will feel uncomfortable for them to doing so by doing so. But when we place the EMS with them and we run the user studies and they told us it's actually acceptable for them, and they feel it's really interesting to see, okay, my hand is not controlled by myself, so it can create a very new experience for them. So that could be the plus.
And one of the downsides in EMS is always the same, which is it can cause pain or tingling.
Yes,
It can be
yeah.
quite uncomfortable.
That's problem with the
That's why it always
technology. Let's say
fails.
tomorrow they finish, they make a perfect one. You still have this weird feeling that you don't control your limbs. Okay. And I could see, for example, a usage maybe if I'm a technician on the field and some expert is guiding me from afar, I could have said, okay, give me your hands a second. And now I see my hands sort of doing things, right? I can see some value in that. I don't learn too much from that, from what I'm asking. And I wonder if those people that try those things later, if you'll ask them, okay, you can do this or that, any one of them would say, you know what, I want the EMS one, even if it's not painful.
Well, for our games, I would say the answer is no, because we only ask our participants to do this very specific game experience. So which means they don't have any freedom to do other tasks. But we did actually conduct some interviews with them. Like, just imagine, like, what if you have EMS in your life? What you can do with the EMS? And some people told us, like, if they have EMS, they can do some. For example, if they can differ heart. They can imagine that people can differ heart with other people. For example, a partner, but over distance, like one in the UK, one in the US. If they want a heart, it's not possible in the real world. But with the EMS, they can feel something like that. They can have the feedback, like by doing by moving their body in a specific shape. Yeah. And remember, you have 2 more questions, right? Yeah.
Continue this question.
Yeah, sure. Mhm.
We have some question about the first question. So,
Mhm.
If we add the cognitive involvement
Mhm.
From the brain, we all know normally our brain is very strong.
Mhm.
Yeah. Does that mean that we could potentially control the hand ourselves?
You mean against the EMS?
Yes.
Or it's not.
No, maybe for someone who cannot control his hand to use that as a means to move the muscles based on what he thinks.
Yeah, I think sometimes our brain will control the arms instead of just the electricity to control the arm. So in your experiment, how do you make sure that the cognitive factors are excluded? If you use a cognition and somehow we can't play with ourselves.
I guess I understand your question. So you mean, what if, like, our brain want to control this muscle, do this gesture, but it
comes automatically.
Well, especially for this one, for the auto puzzle game, we only place one EMS with our participants, so people will know which hand will do the task. But for this one, it's your question. I guess it's more relevant to this one, because we ask our participants to wear 2 EMS devices. Even we program the whole process, they can still have some cognitive like commands from their brains to control their hands. But we just ask them to try them best to not move your hands, just follow the commands from the EMS. So yeah.
Another first time, it takes about 150 milliseconds for you to know the hand has been moved before you can control it. So there's no time for you to have a cognitive influence on the motion of the hand.
Yeah, it's not immediately. Yeah.
Too fast.
Mm-hmm. And it's also based on the how strong the EMS feeling will be. Like, we can set a different intensity for the EMS control.
Thanks. And for the second question is body menu. Could you go back to the body menu slide?
This one?
Yeah. It's a very interesting. Yeah. I want to ask if we use our body and to choose what we want, if the participants how can we know whether we had made the selection? There will be the haptic feelings like the buzzing, or
we actually set some like some voice to help you to confirm. Like, if you select the correct application, you will hear something like "ding." But if you select the wrong icon, you will say something like "boom." So we just provide different voices for selection.
So you do visually.
Visually, you can also see the icons. Yeah.
Visually, you detected the tapping visually.
Yes.
Which might have a bit of a difference than the haptic sensing.
That's true. Yeah.
Did anyone notice that?
Not really, actually.
Well, it could be that I will do a really well. I haven't yet tapped and it's already selected.
That happens actually because our system is based on the computer vision based solution, which means there must some there always some spatial gap between the physical body and the visual icons. So sometimes people maybe they already select the icon, they tap into the icon, but they are not really touching their physical bodies. So it happens.
I wonder if you can use the fact that you close electrical circuit when you touch it as a mean to detect.
Yeah, maybe.
And I will move to the third question.
Yes.
It's about I don't know which slide this.
Which project?
The micro gesture.
Yes.
Yeah. That part is I think is most interesting me. Yeah. My question is I think if the participants take part in this experiment, will you learn some the body language first? Like the gestures.
So you mean if our participants need to remember all those gestures?
Yeah.
Well, we have some training session before our user study. So we just ask them to follow the instructions to do these gestures and make sure their gestures are accurate to be recognized by our system. So during this round of training session, we actually confirm their memorability before we conduct the user study. So
this is my program. I think it's kind of a memory test.
That's true.
Like me, I'm a bad memory. Yeah. So so if I have to memorize so many the signs of the different body languages, I think it would be hard.
So yeah, I can understand your concern. So first of all, the reason we chose these gestures because we already follow the previous study. People have already proved that people will be familiar with these gestures, especially like for example the scissors. It's very intuitive because people do this gesture. It just means scissor and means cut. So it's really relevant to the semantic gestures. And well, for the rest, like the pinky, well, it's not very intuitive, and that's why during the user study we also provided some tips, the picture tips around them on the left side. So people, if they really cannot remember what the gesture is, they can turn around and they can see which gesture they want to do.
So I'm wondering, will there be the actual cognitive burden for the participants?
Sorry?
As the actual cognitive burden for the
Burden.
burden, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The stress
Mm-hmm.
for the participants.
You mean during the study?
Yes.
Not really, because we didn't ask them to. You should do this. You should finish this task within 1 minute. We didn't ask them to. We just normally ask them to. You can finish the task.
Because they have to memorize, you know, a lot the gesture.
Yes. So our task is not to ask our participants to finish all those tasks as soon as possible. We just make sure that they can perform as accurate as possible. So if they really cannot remember, they can turn around and they will see what gesture they will use.
The reason why I asked this question because I do the research about the XR-based post-stroke rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I built up the game scenarios and I will ask the post-stroke patients to play games at the virtual reality environments. So sometimes they just have the motor impairment, so they can't hold the controller. So I think this way I can address this situation.
I see.
Yeah, but the problem is if I ask them to remember the gestures, you know, the meaning. So I think sometimes it will give the patients more cognitive burden.
Yeah, that's true.
So, because even though they have the motor limitations, sometimes they also have the cognition limitation because they have they has a stroke, right?
Yeah.
So do you think how to address this?
So first of all, in our paper, we also mentioned like in the future we want to. So first we want to extend our recognition system to more gestures, not only based on our choices, because we only select like 6 or 7, 6 or 8 gestures. We want to extend our micro gesture systems into more gestures, more inclusive. Yes. So people
narrow down.
not narrow down. The reason we want to extend it because we can recognize more gestures and people can personalize which gesture means what command.